Good day, our subscribers, our partners, our friends. Today we are here again with ACIK Talks. Last time with Gustavo we discussed, if you remember, about tourism and the travel bridge between Italy and Kazakhstan. So we are now continuing our podcast in that theme. So we want to go furthermore to travel experience plus cultural exchange. And today we have my very good friend Andrea Buitoni, who is the co-founder of Longevity Camp project. Today we discuss with him the project and the camp it is. So we will discuss this more about wellness. So today we want to say Salam Dostar.
Salam Dostar.
Yes, Andrea here with us. He come from Italy, and a little bit he will say us about himself and about Longevity Camp.
Thank you very much. So my background is finance. I've been in finance for 22 years, and as many people has gone through very special moments during COVID time, I personally had a health crisis, and I have actually decided to change my life. I had a wake-up call. The reason is that sometimes you face difficult moments, and these difficult moments, if taken in the right positive way, you can actually create something new. So this was when I started with my co-founder partner, Claudio Sattin, to think about something new in the well-being and longevity spectrum. And we founded the Longevity Camp. The Longevity Camp is a well-being and longevity ecosystem based on 5 different pillars of health: mindset, breathing, nutrition, positive regenerative sleep, and physical optimization. What we do think is the importance in our life of having a correct balance approach. Therefore, if we can focus our mind into these 5 pillars, we do think that we can actually have not only a longer life, but we can increase our health span. So the reason why I'm happy to be here is because I've been visiting Kazakhstan for the second time this year, and I've seen so much about your country, the natural settings, the right culture, the positive mentality, the kindness of people. All these are very important part of a better well-being. So the fact that in the previous podcast talk, you were with Gustavo Pancaldi from Tomiri's tour, it's a very interesting topic because we do think that your country can actually be a destination for well-being tourism. And with all the offers that it has, we can actually bring a lot of value in the corporate world, in the private retreats world, and so on.
Yeah, but you start telling us about longevity, well-being. I want to tell that some of our partners know. As a Kazakh, as Oljas, I have a very good DNA. My grandmother lived 103 years, and this the one very interesting what she did is she take care of some things. He always said that she take care only that things which is she can fix it. Others she never think. So her best advice was this: concentrate on some things which is you can fix. Others is no need. But I think now we have a lot of more technology, more researchers in that case. So Longevity Camp can provide this all in one. And Kazakhstan is, I think, the best place for me, especially to have this kind of the wellness programs, wellness camp. I think hopefully in the future life we will have not only camp, we will have some bigger cities, longevity cities.
Like Singapore, for instance. You're talking about longevity and blue zones. As many people you are aware of, the concept of the blue zone are concepts that has been developed in the past few years around those locations around the world where there are the highest number of centenaries. One is Okinawa in Japan. Then we have Ogliastra region in the Sardinia island of Italy. Then we have Nicoya in Costa Rica. Then we have Ikaria island in Greece. And Singapore actually is one of the most advanced city looking after their population. And who knows, maybe Kazakhstan, as your grandmother's DNA can show, that it has some very special people. And in there, as you said, the mentality that your grandmother had was not to panic or to get stressed about things that she cannot resolve, which is true. A very interesting thing is that, unfortunately, because of technology nowadays with the digital world, we are disconnecting ourselves from simplicity, from a reality that should be part of our life. And our ancestors, from your grandmothers and great-grandmothers, could teach us that we should be focusing on, as we were talking about, one of the pillars of health is movement. Of course, you can go to the gym and so on, but everybody is stressed because of work, because of maybe the atmospheric transition. Today it is -2 here in Almaty, so people are saying, oh, I'm not gonna go out for a walk. Instead, it would be very important to actually move. Our ancestors, imagine, they were walking, at least in Europe, but I'm sure here as well, 30 kilometers a day between going to work, to school, to the market, to whatever. And we're not doing this anymore. So we need to change our approach towards this kind of important part of our lives. Or for instance, eating with good habits. This is very important. And actually trying to be, again, a community. We all use social media, right? Sometimes social media tell us to get us closer. Instead, if we don't use them properly, they disconnect each other. So we should start again communicating. One of the things I love about Kazakhstan is that people are extremely kind and nice. And they are actually, even if I don't speak the language, they are welcoming and trying to help. So these are simple examples that we can learn from our forefathers about the movement, about eating better, being kind to other people, being a community, laughing, enjoying ourselves, dancing. All these are very important part of going onto a longevity path. So going back to Kazakhstan and the tourism, I think there is so much potential here to develop a corporate proper mentality, like sustainable well-being for executives, and creating special longevity camps around how we can help people who are working into companies to be better and perform better. Or a high net worth individual, for instance, they want to discover in a different way, different region of your beautiful country. Back in the days, I went to Aktau region. It's looking like being a different planet. Or you go to some areas in the eastern provinces, or here close to Almaty on the Shimbulaya region, on the mountains. So there's so much to do. And I think with this approach, and we would love to be helpful. And then of course, we also are introducing a digital aspect of what we do in Russian, so that we are able to help different generations in being connected to very special human beings that we call life shifters, that can actually speak with their experience to different public through Russian, like a dubbing. And we can actually help in changing some habits that maybe can get people in a better shape.
When you talk about movement, in Kazakh, when you say heart, your heart is called jurek. And some sports guys is saying that jurek, it means if you make it separate, is juru kerek. If you separate this one word to two words, juru kerek, it means you need to move. You need to walk. Exactly, direct translation is you need to move. So to have healthy heart, to make you train your heart as a better way, you need to move. So in the one word is a deep philosophy of longevity, well-being, you know, to keep your heart a healthy way. So as I said, is here in Kazakhstan is the best place for this longevity things. I think it can be very good, successful project. Of course, we are now growing country, almost 30 years we had independence, etc., but slowly but truly we are going together with Italy, with ACIK. Of course, we are here helping people and helping business to make a bridges between Kazakhstan and Italy, and not only in the business, plus in culture, travel, etc., and other wellness, plus some experience. So Andrea, what do you think about, for example, the best place of Kazakhstan to organize this kind of longevity camp? And what do you think maybe we have closer to Almaty? You have been, as you mentioned, in Aktau, in Astana, etc. But Astana a little bit cold for.
But you know, cryotherapy is very important.
Ah, really?
Yes. As a matter of fact, this is quite.
Maybe that's why we moved capital to Astana.
This is quite funny. Like coming from Mediterranean, where the temperature are not so low. I actually I'm warm every time I'm here. Offices outside, and for me, actually, even the cold weather, it shouldn't be viewed as a problem, but it helps, like being exposed to lower temperature. It can actually help your performance, your circulation. If you do move, like imagine like in the Scandinavian region, in Sweden and Norway and Finland, sometimes at lunchtime, they leave babies outside at the cold for maybe 20, 30 minutes. So,
my cousin did that.
So this is not, I think, an issue for Kazakhstan, even in the winters.
I invite you in January to Astana, somewhere in the end of January.
I'm sure. No, but considering, as I pointed out, locations, depending on which is the target. For instance, any corporate infrastructure, like any companies that would love to improve the well-being of their executives, they could decide to do potentially a one-day retreat or a couple of days retreat. If you consider the region of Almaty, there are amazing places in the countryside close to, in 45 minutes. I personally have been just close to Almaty on the mountain region, and there are amazing locations. I don't want to say the names out of respect to the others, but there is plenty of things to do. And one of our projects is to actually bring some of our life shifters from Italy and from Latin America over here and mix them with your talents. For instance, it would be very interesting, and we are actually in talks with some of your gold medalists in the previous Olympic to actually be part of this project and interact with the audience that can be, as I said, corporate or private individuals, so that they can give a testimony of their experience and what sports and reaching the highest level with the gold medal at the Olympic Games can bring into our daily life. And sports is a great way to get an audience attracted, but sometimes we listen to what we call in English naysayers, the people who are always telling us, no, this cannot be done, or no, you're not good enough. Or sometimes we have excuses. Excusitis is one of the major issues that we have nowadays. Oh, I cannot talk in public, or I cannot reach the deadlines that my boss told me. We're all full of excuses. But one thing we have to bear in mind is that we can only think either a negative or a positive. So we have to shift our mentality. And I think the best way to improve ourselves on the mindset point of view, which is a very important part of longevity and well-being, is by looking at examples. This is why we have all these kind of people from all over the world. And you actually have here amazing people that we want to bring to the audience, not like speaking at a conference or speaking into a dinner party. No, actually engaging, immersive locations, and interacting with the audience, can be corporate or private, or even students. Imagine how important it is to bring these kind of people in front of the students,
especially Zoomers,
to motivate them.
Especially Zoomers, they need to have some motivation to make, some efforts to grow up, etc., etc. So a lot of scientists saying that Zoomers now.
You call them Zoomers?
Yes, even they made some revolution somewhere in some countries. Zoomers revolution is now it's growing up very fast. But last time we discussed, and I want to our audience to know that you did very fantastic and interesting advertisement project together with Maserati.
Correct.
Yes, and it was fantastic idea.
I
think it's something to share with our audience.
So about 3 months ago, actually in August, a dear friend of mine is the chief marketing officer of Maserati worldwide. His name is Giovanni Perosina. He called me up and he said, we need to launch our new supercar, MC Pura. It's called Pure. So I said, I'm thinking about some locations in Italy, and one which brings to me my attention is the Tuscany coast, where all the marble quarries are. Marble, as we know, is one of the most precious stones that since millennia artists and sculpturists has used to build a mosque, cathedrals and beautiful palaces. So I said, we're gonna have about 25 lifestyle journalists from all over the world. I want to bring the concept of purity with legacy, with traditions, together with longevity and well-being. Do you have anything in mind? Of course. So to cut the story short, what we created was a beautiful event at the private villa of Maestro Andrea Bocelli, who was actually here in concert on October 28th at the Almaty Arena. And we organized this very special evening event where we created a symphony. And this is just an idea for corporate owners or managers. And what we created was, we had 3 starring partners, protagonists of the show. We had a professional Maserati driver, all dressed in a black tie suit or smoking jacket, with this beautiful Maserati. Then we had our life shifter, Mike Maric. He's a world champion in free diving. He's a doctor, and he teaches Olympians how to breathe. He was the symphony orchestra director. The audience was actually the orchestra, so everybody was exercising in the breathing techniques that he was teaching. And then we had an amazing artist called Carlos Slide from Colombia, who is a freestyle musician in the piano, in piano playing. So what we did, we have created this symphony between the engine, the powerful engine of the Maserati MC Pura, and the orchestra director Mike Maric, who was actually getting the audience attention and the breathing that they had to do, because as you know, if you're going 200 kilometers an hour, sometimes you are in apnea, like this. So he was creating these motions, and then the piano artist was going into balance with the vroom of the Maserati Pura. So it was a great success, and it was a funny way to introduce the concept of well-being and longevity, also in promoting not only the well-being of the executives and employees, but also the launch of a company's product and so on.
Now we are here, of course, you and ACIK Longevity Camp, and ACIK is thinking and planning the first, maybe second longevity camp in Kazakhstan. So if you, some companies or some individuals want to join us, you're very much welcome. We need more ideas or more experience, because some places are very good for that. Some places is not very good. Some places need to work on that. So, Andrea, thank you very much for your very, very deep explanation of longevity camp. I think Italy-Kazakhstan podcast. The purpose is to show that Italians, Kazakhs is very close in mentality, in a lot of things. I think for me is family issues. We all live like man lives with a father and mother till some very a lot of time. So
And as you pointed out, we might be far away, Central Asian and Mediterranean like Italians. The company is a global company, but I am originally from Italy. And one thing we have in common is that we deeply care about families. We have family important values.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with my own eyes here. So this is something that unites us, makes us brothers. It's not about religion, but we have a common, common vision and common values. So it would be a pleasure to assist any of you through ACIK to develop in a tailor-made fashion any programs whatsoever here in Kazakhstan, and we can use our creativity to help you out.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you.
Rahmet.
Subscribe us and subscribe our LinkedIn and YouTube. And we will continue our podcasts in other some interesting thematics. So see you soon. Please share this link with your friends if you want to know more about Italy and Kazakhstan. Thank you, guys.
Rahmet.
Rahmet.